This video goes out to weird people in my comment section, especially on Facebook, that seems to think that I have an eating disorder. Whatever I have, all I know is one thing, is that it helps me manage my weight. It also puts me in control of my fat loss whenever I want to go into a fat loss phase. And also, like always in my videos, if you notice, I'm always happy, I'm always smiling, I'm always pleased to share a lot of helpful information for people struggling with their weight. So it definitely doesn't have a negative impact on me mentally or physically. But I'm on my way to work this afternoon, and I was looking at my calories, and like I always explain to my audience and my clients, I treat my calories like money. Now, even though I'm going to be eating a little bit higher in my calorie limit than what I intended for today, I was just like, what the heck? I have, a craving for Krispy Kreme donuts. Again, this is the second day in a row. But like always, I get all of my protein out of the way early. I still noticed I was a little bit short on my protein, so I calculated in my app, what would it be, to see what it would be if I got 2 Krispy Kreme donuts. And also I'm going to go by Popeyes and get some black and tenders to help bring my protein up. I eat out quite a bit, but I'm smart about it, okay? The video I made with the cute little, foldable scale, a lot of people got upset feeling like I was faulting the server for not knowing the correct portion size, which if a lot of the times if you look at the menu, it actually does say, it does say that if you want additional, nutritional information, to ask the server. But God knows I would never do that. That video was just a way of me showing my clients that, hey, most servers, they don't know the recommended portion size that's listed at the headquarters, okay? I was at, Barbaritos and like Chipotle. I love those places. They're really healthy, but a lot of the times, depending on how heavy the server's hand is that day, they're giving you double and triple portions, and it's not their fault. So if you're in the diet phase and if your goal is to, lose fat, don't go in those restaurants thinking that, oh, let me look up and see what the menu says at Chipotle for a serving of rice or a serving of chicken. And it's because 9 times out of 10, those servers are giving you more. That's just how America is. We want everything bigger, everything more, and that's just how it is. And a lot of the times they mean that, in a mannerable and a nice way. Sometimes you may go in there often, and it may be, I'm just going to give you an example, your homegirl Keisha. Like, oh, there go my dog right there, girl, I got you today. And, meanwhile, you're looking at the menu and trying to add your calories up, and it's, just say it's supposed to total out to like 550 calories. Meanwhile, you're not realizing that Keisha done, instead of her telling you that bowl is going to be $12.50, she needs to be telling you that it's 3,500 calories in that damn bowl. But guess what? It's not their job. Okay, that's in a perfect world. It's truly not their job. They don't have a clue, and that's okay. But it is your responsibility to know. So I'm going to Krispy Kreme donut. No, I don't have to weigh my donuts. I'm just going to log in my app, 1 or 2 donuts, and it's going to pull it up. Okay, I'll go to Popeyes and get me some black and tenders. Tenders are tenders. I'm just going to log in my app, 5 tenders. But when I'm going somewhere where the food that I'm choosing has to be scooped and whopped out of, something and onto my plate, hey, do what you have to do, especially during the initial stages of your fat loss. Now, do I do this every time? No. Sometimes I do go places like Barbaritos or Chipotle, and I don't weigh my food. Sometimes I go to my favorite restaurant, Longhorn, and no, I don't weigh everything they bring on my plate. A 6-ounce steak or an 8-ounce steak, it is what it is. A baked sweet potato, if I order something like that, yeah, sometimes it may be smart to weigh it, because some potatoes may be larger or smaller than others, and that can make the difference of you having more calories left over or maybe not having quite as many as you would like to have, had. So you may want to weigh it so you can cut it in half and know exactly what you're working with. You just don't get that privilege throughout the early stages when you have a significant amount of weight to lose. And if you do give yourself that much grace, just again, like I said in the video earlier, do not be pissed off whenever you don't get the results that you want. And so I just left Krispy Kreme and I got my donuts. And y'all, I don't have time to make shit up. I am the most transparent, honest person on this app. I swear, like everybody, all of my followers should truly know everything about my drug addiction, like everything bad, good in my life. I have no problem being honest, okay? But straight up, like, I just left out of Krispy Kreme, but I was in there. There were so many people ahead of me, couldn't make up their mind, had big orders. I was patient, humble, no problem. I'm even in a hurry to go to work, but I am not self-centered. I do not feel like the world is mine while everybody else is just, I don't have a sense of entitlement. But the server literally waved me off, once he gave me when I stood up, and he's just like, next. And I was like, I just want, 3 glazed donuts, which I'm only going to eat 2, by the way. But anyway, he was like, that's it. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, wow. And I was like, well, I would like to have more, but I just try to watch my calories and everything like that. I body build. So he said, oh, that makes sense. And he said, you know what? You're good. And I'm like, huh? And he's like, you're good. He literally gave me the donuts for free. So as for anybody that got the idea on the other video that I was like some sort of an asshole to servers at restaurants and things like that, y'all don't know me. I am like literally the sweetest person until, of course, I'm just like anybody else. If you make me mad, if you do something to me, okay, well, that's another story. But I don't just walk around being an asshole. I have goals. This is my lifestyle. This is the way that I choose to live, and I don't try to inflict my ways on others. I love to share it. I'm very passionate about it because, people want to know. And seriously, let's be real. People transform their life like once every never. Regardless as to what people do with the information that I put out, everybody deserves to know. To me, for me to have learned all of these things and be able to simplify it like this and not share it would be as equivalent to me hitting the lottery and, being able to help other people make money and just being so damn selfish and not sharing it. No way am I ever trying to inflict an eating disorder or some type of unhealthy behavior behind what I teach to someone. So if you are someone that's ever suffered with an ED, I don't have any I'm not familiar with that. So, like I said, but I do know what it's like to have suffered from a drug addiction, and I would assume that it could be, a lot of similarities as far as having a negative impact on your life. So please, if you don't have a healthy relationship with food, do not take heed to everything you see on social media, even when it comes to me. I don't feel like what I teach, promotes an ED, but if you feel that way, please get off of my page quick. Do not engage with my content. It's not for you. Now that we have that out of the way, here's where I log my 2 donuts from Krispy Kreme. And I'm going to show you where I log my black and tenders from Popeyes. My maintenance calories are 2,100. So you can see, even though I have my thing set to 1,600, it keeps me just shy of 100 calories worth of being in a deficit. So that was 2,006 calories, 186 grams of protein. My carbs and my fats, I'm not real anal about counting those unless I am seriously on my grind. And right now I'm just like, as I said in the video earlier, balance, okay? I always tell my clients, counting macros altogether is really not necessary unless you plan on competing. And even though I do plan to compete one day, just not right now. And I typically don't teach how to count macros right off the rip with clients, because the last thing I want is for them to experience burnout. I had great results just counting calories and counting protein, and a lot of people do. A lot of people will. Do not get wrapped up into counting macros. Let your carbs and your fats fall where they may, because if you're staying within your calorie range and hitting your protein target, everything else will take care of itself as far as carbs and fats. Trust me on this one. And so now y'all can see I've already ate 3 of the tenders, almost 3. And then I have my donuts. Well, if I can get them open. And I'm going to enjoy me 2 of these, and just like that, that's how it is. I don't have an eating disorder again. Like I said before, I'm just very strategic about how I eat. I didn't like being overweight. I just did not like being fat. And I know what it takes for me to not be that way. For everybody in my comment section that's typically like, oh, you shouldn't have to weigh your food. Again, it's always somebody else that's overweight. Their physique is just... or either somebody that's really skinny that obviously has never had a problem with their weight. That's about as equivalent as to you being poor, excuse me if I sound like an asshole, and somebody gets rich and you tell them how to manage their money and you ain't never had shit. Sorry, but not sorry.